leaf, and it is a lot of work, but you're actually seeing your medicine, you're seeing your food, you know what's in it, you know where it came from. Like I said, everything to be washed very well, and then of course you're going to do things like, you're going to have your cutting boards, you're going to cut things. Some of your infusions you don't really need to cut, you can bruise. So I think I'm going to start with an infusion of oil today because it's pretty standard, and you can put most of the herbs in it for an infusion. So if we're going to do, say, rosemary, what you're going to want to do, and these are tiny little jars because it does take a lot of oil, and it can be expensive, but it is a wonderful way to preserve. So you're going to take some of your rosemary.
So infusion is just a way of preserving the herb?
It is, and the oil will actually extract the medicinal property from the herb, and it will keep for up to 2 years. I have kept them. They do say to be very careful after a year. You're going to want to smell it often every time you open it. And if it starts to smell a little decay, you're done with it. Put it away. That's why I say it's always good to make small batches.
You broke that later.
Exactly. This is from my garden this morning. I actually picked this today because I knew this stuff is super pungent. I figured it would be the best one to show people. What you're going to want to do now, I have potato mashers at home. I've actually collected because I'm a weirdo, but they work really good when you're bruising herbs. I didn't bring one today because I didn't want to intimidate people and have them be like, well, I don't know where to find one of those, You can just use your wooden spoon. This is bruising. It's a very standard process. You're bruising the plant matter, and then you can strip the leaves. If you wish to put the stem in, you may. Sometimes that's better to chop. If you have a pretty long... Yep, pestle and mortar work beautiful if you have that. That's a great way of doing it. I like those too. If you have a pretty glass, they do, and it makes you feel like, you're actually, it's good. It makes you feel good inside. I know. You love it. The pretty jar, if you're looking for something to look really nice and you have a nice elongated jar to fill with oil, bruise it and put the entire sprig inside and let it sit. It will do the same purpose. It's just, it'll look really nice on your counter, on your stove, type of a thing. This, I like to use grapeseed or olive oil. Olive oil can be very expensive. Grapeseed is a little less expensive. They say to infuse essential oils and herbs in a nut oil. However, we all know not everyone can deal with a nut oil. They can be very dangerous to people. So I tend to go more towards this. Avocado oil is wonderful, however, extremely expensive. So if you're going to be doing this in your standard everyday living, you might want to watch some of those economic things unless you have a really special herb or a really special thing that you're making. So what we'll do is we will just fill. Okay, you fill that up. You want to leave a little bit of space towards the top. So this whole top area here I've left open. What I like to do is as so, and you might actually, you're going to want to fill this a bit more. I'm using a very small amount. The air bubbles create decay. When you have air and you have a fresh herb, it can cause bacteria. You're leaving space for bacteria, which you don't want. What you would truly do is pack this jar tight with your rosemary. So I'm using a very small amount, but we would really pack this jar and press it in and then cover with the oil. And then you're going to go around as so, and you're going to tamp, and you're going to pat it all down there. Now tomorrow, will your herbs be floating on the surface? Yes. You're going to do the same thing every day. You will pack.
Every day for how long?
About 3 weeks. You will label. You will date. And also a really good idea is to put on the weather when you harvested it. What did it look like outside? What was it doing when you got it? You're going to find next year, if you do it again, and you harvest at a different time, you say, wow, that oil smelled a lot better last year than it did this year. Why? Well, I'm going to look at the weather. I'm going to look at what was going on at the time that I harvested. Super, super important. Okay? So there would be your oil infusion. After about 3 weeks, I've actually left oil infusions for up to 2 months. It's entirely up to you. 3 weeks is a good amount. You're going to open, and I'm not going to really do this because I don't have a standard cleanup for a messy oil infusion. You can do something like this with your cheesecloth. You take the lid off, obviously. Cheesecloth over the top and a rubber band. You will have your clean jar. You have a natural strainer now. And you'll tip and pour. Pack, label, and put in a dark place out of the sun. You want to avoid sunlight when you're dealing with oils, always, and herbs. The sun tends to take away medicinal property. So that's an easy way of straining out your herb. Do you have a question?
When you were using that long stick, you were trying to get the air bubbles then? Is that what you were
Yeah.
doing? Okay,
Yeah.
and then after 3 weeks, you removed the oil? Or
You remove the plant matter.
Oh, the
and
plant
put,
matter.
Yep, and put
Just
the
have the
oil
oil.
into a clean, fresh container. And as I said, you're going to want to check this often. You're going to want to look at it. You're going to want to make sure that your plant matter is submerged. You might want to actually even add a little more oil as you go. If you see that some of the oil is soaking into the herbs and things get a little thicker and a little heavier. So there's a lot of common sense involved, you know, in working here. You're
Now
looking.
this is to use the oil. You will not.
I'm sorry.
The end. You use the oil.
Yeah, you use the oil.
Yeah.
Nope. The herb goes into the compost pile or trash can or whatever
Well,
it
I
is.
thought
that
the
you do.
oil preserved it.
You're preserving the medicine inside. What you will do with this oil is you will rub it on your sore joints. You can put it on your salads. You can use it for many culinary things that you would use rosemary for. Cooking eggs and a rosemary infused oil is fantastic. This is what an infusion is. Infusions are a way of preserving your herbal medicine.